Hello everyone. The topic of my report is Profitability, Bank Efficiency and Bank Size, Evidence from China's Bank Inductivity. As we know, banks play an important role in the financial system. The profitability of a bank will be affected by the size of its asset. In China, the profitability of large banks is significantly higher than that of small banks. Our study referred to the decomposition method of Feng and Wang 2018. We deposed the relative profitability of large and small banks. The results show that the relative profitability of small banks is significantly lower than that of large banks, and this inefficiency is mainly due to low technical efficiency of small banks. Profitability is the ability to generate profits with certain inputs. An early way to measure the profitability of banks was to use bank indicators, ROA or ROE, or some simple calculations using financial indicators. In recent years, some scholars now use the ratio of total output to total input to evaluate the profitability of banks. Based on the decomposition method in O'Donnell 2012 and Feng and Wang 2018. This paper conducts a two-stage decomposition of relative profitability between small banks and large banks. In the first stage, the relative profitability is broken down into the price part and the efficiency part. In second stage, the two indexes are further decomposed. The price part can be decomposed into input price index and output price index, and the efficiency part can be decomposed into efficiency frontier, technical efficiency, scale efficiency, and mixed efficiency. I will describe the decomposition progress in the following paragraphs. In period T, the total input and output of bank I are represented as vector X and vector Q. The total factor of productivity of bank I can be expressed as TFP equals Q divided by X. The Q is the output and X is the input. The profitability of bank I can be expressed as the PROF. This is the output divided by input. Therefore, the relative profitability of bank I and bank H in the period T can be expressed as the profitability of IT divided by profitability HT. After the definition of relative profitability, the decomposition of the first stage begins, and the relative profitability is decomposed into price part and efficiency part. As this equation, OIPI is the price part, and TFPI is the relative efficiency part. PI is the output price index. WI is the input price index. TFPI represents the relative total factor productivity. Then we perform the second stage of decomposition. TFPI can decompose to TFP, OTE, OSE, and RME. TFP is the maximum TFP. TMP star is the maximum TFP that is possible for a given technology. OTE is the output-oriented measure of technical efficiency. OSE is the conventional measure of output-oriented scale efficiency, and RME is the residual mix efficiency. Combined with the decomposition of about 2 stages, the Wang's profitability can be finally decomposed into the following 6 indicators: PI times 1 divided by WI times TFPI times OTEI times OSEI times RMEI. Next, the DEA expansion estimate. Next is the DEA estimation method, which I will not explain in detail. This is the TFP star. This is OSE, RME, and about the data. The data in this paper comes from database of China, Taiwan, and the data of 2008 commercial banks from 2005 to 2016 are selected. Among them, the classification standard of large banks and small banks is whether the average asset exceeds 1 billion yuan. The output vector Y, we choose 3 vectors: total loan, investment income, non-business income. About the inputs, we also choose 3 vectors. XE is human capital, XR is total deposit, XN is total fixed assets. This is the output price, and this is the input price. Then it's about the results. This is the relative profitability of small banks divided by large banks. As we can see, they except with 2006, 2011, and 2012. In other years, the relative profitability index of small banks in most years is less than 1. And since 2013, the relative profitability index of small banks has shown a very obviously downward trend. It shows that in the same period, the profitability of small banks has been weaker than that of large banks. this picture is the this blue line is the price part, and this red line is the efficiency part. As we can see, the relative input-output price index of small banks has been greater than 1, indicating that the output price of small banks is relatively high. And after 2012, the total factor productivity index has been less than 1 and shows the trend of decline year by year. It shows that the relatively low profitability of small banks during the 2012 to 2016 is mainly due to the relative low factor productivity of small banks. This is the relatively input index and relatively output index. As we can see, since 2013, it has shown an upward trend. In recent years, the relative price of output small banks has here the loan. This is the loan price. This is the security asset price, and piece rate is, and W1 is the labor input price, W2 is the price of deposit, and W3 is the price of fixed assets. As we can see, with the exception of 2005 and 2006, the relative input price of small banks has been relatively low, and this is the decomposition of TFP. The red line is all scale efficiency. The yellow line is the residual efficiency, and the blue line is the technical efficiency. As we can see, the scale efficiency is of small bank. The relatively scale efficiency is always larger than 1. It indicating that compared with large banks, small banks has a higher scale efficiency, and since they lower the low TFP, the low TFP of small banks is due to the low technical efficiency. This is all my report. Thanks for your listening.